Morning, Jim.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Yourself?
Been okay. So,
Awesome. What's new? Anything exciting you're working on in or out of GitLab?
I've been working a lot with pipelines recently. So,
Cool. Doing anything fancy? Just a bit of optimization or
optimization for some of it, and then just trying to make more pipelines that our code actually has like code formatters and stuff in it. And then I was working on one that, um, so we have a So they really like using SVN here for some unknown reason. So SVN's like
okay.
the competitor to Git.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was more of a precursor than a competitor, but go on.
It, it's like the horse and buggy to a car nowadays.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so now, or I'm trying to now redo our pipeline so that it runs on multiple branches instead of just like trunk. Because what we
Okay.
do is we take our Git repo, we push to it, it starts our pipeline if it meets a couple certain criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Then it take goes and grabs these value or these files, moves them into a Git or into an SVN repo. But I have to clone that SVN repo first, and I want to do it for multiple branches now. So it takes more than an hour, and it hits my job timeout. So
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it's pretty cool though. It's pretty cool. I must admit, like, I sort of take it for granted a little bit, and sometimes I don't know whether complexity is probably the right term. Like, does get a bit gnarly, but it's pretty cool. Like, the amount that we do now, like even with something like the contributor platform project where we've got linting in there, we've got tests in there, we've got security scanning in there. Um, I really like a couple of, I don't know if recent additions is quite the right or correct, but um, for example, the structure.sql. So I think you're familiar with the way that sort of the migrations database Railsy stuff works, and you get this structure.sql, which is kind of like the schema of the database, and it can, if you're not careful, it can kind of drift basically. So, even in the CI, we've got a job that basically says delete the structure, dump the structure from the database, and ensure that there's no diff, essentially. Ensure that the file that you've generated is identical to the file that was there before. If it wasn't, then we got some kind of drift and we want to fail the job, fail the pipeline. Um, and we've extended that now. So not just the structure.sql, we do that with the Vite or Vite. I'll never ever remember that, no matter how hard I try. The snapshots. So we delete all the snapshots and then regenerate all the snapshots. This time we're not looking really to see what snapshots need updating. We're looking for redundant snapshots specifically. If snapshots need updating, they're wrong, then the actual Vite job, the test job will fail anyway. Um, but if there are any, which is very easily done, if there are any snapshots that are redundant, not needed anymore, the tests don't exist, but the snapshot's still there, then again, Git will see that there's some kind of diff, there's new files or deleted files or whatever, and it will fail the job. One that I don't think that we've done yet that would be interesting. My brain can't quite wrap its head around at the moment. Yeah, that could work. Would that work? Yeah. Um, we use VCR. Are you familiar with VCR, the gem in Ruby?
I am familiar with it because we've had to live edit it here on these
Cool,
meetings before,
cool, cool. So
and
I'm
it's
gonna go on.
interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah, I've had some really interesting conversations about it, actually. Like, I'm going to say that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship. Um, the reason I really like it is that it's very easy to stub network requests, thinking that you know the shape and size or whatever you want to call it of the network request and response, but in actuality it differs slightly. So, even something silly like the JSON structure and the way it's wrapped, it's very easy to let me share one that I actually merged yesterday.
I just always laugh. There's so much difference between the coverage that we do for like the contributor platform and the coverage I do in my main systems. There's
Oh,
like a
really?
huge difference between the two.
A little bit more laxed internally, is it? Or
Yes. And part of it's just the platform we have. Like, I don't want to knock it, but it's like a Java based application. And so any sort of testing on the UI side is really hard.
right, right.
But
To be,
also, our
go on.
database is so large
Yeah.
and covers so much that it's really hard to set up any like sort of in place testing because
Hmm.
you set up one like with the contributor platform, you can set up like a user and that affects like one or two tables plus.
Yes.
Whereas if I want to set up a user on my side, it affects like 12 different tables.
Got it. Yeah.
So it's just the amount to go to a test is just huge.
I've lost my tab. Where am I? So yeah, I must admit, I'm really happy where we're at with the contributors project at the moment, and I'm really happy that we're creating issues for what I would consider like tech debty, nitpicky, like desirable future iterations and whatever, as well as having contributors pick them up. I'm really, really happy about that. Like, I mean, I can really understand how easily a project sort of spirals out of control, like as it scales, the test suite doesn't scale, the architecture doesn't scale, etc., etc. Um, and I'm really happy that we've like being really conscious when we're doing like reviews and stuff to say, oh, like let's do it this way. I think this should be our standard, etc. And then it's like, okay, right, can we create a COP to enforce that? Can we enable an ES limp rule to enforce that? Can we add we've just added our sort of I don't know if baseline is the right word for agents MD and Claude.md, etc. All they do is tell it to read the README, but then also to pick up the Duo instructions, which again is a new introduced less than a week ago, just with a couple of basic back end, front end, and generic rules. But all of these things, like the earlier you get them in, right, the easier it is to sort of scale and continue, albeit that we will have to revisit stuff, no doubt. And one of the things I was trying to do before I got lost down a rabbit hole was remind myself like the jobs, how long they take. Um, so again, I think we're still in a really good position. Like So the linting for front end, 35 seconds. Most of that's probably pulling like the container and getting things set up. The front end testing, 1.5 minutes. Again, like is considerably less once you take away the sort of overheads and that. And then back end testing, 2.5 minutes, and back end linting like 1 minute sort of thing. So I think we're still in a really, really good position. And we just have to try and be mindful as we scale, like what size, what time do we then sort of loop back? But when you get to the monolith sort of scale, that's when you start hitting we're running predictive tests because you're talking hours of testing in the pipeline and you've got to try and say, well, we can't run it all. Um,
I don't even
oh,
want to think of how much compute that would take to run every single test
yeah,
on the
yeah.
whole thing.
Absolutely. It's insane. It's a case of like, if you can shave 10 minutes off the pipeline time, you're talking of, I think it's like thousands of pipelines a day. And all of a sudden, like you're saving hundreds of dollars, I mean, like a day. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah, as well as, the size of the project and the pipeline and other thing, you've also got the number of pipelines that are executing, etc. So,
Well, I
um,
remember I did something to help shave like 10 seconds off, and that was a huge amount because I reduced the number of dependencies in one of the projects.
right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was amazed by because I did math on myself and I'm like,
Yeah.
10 seconds times, let's say I just took like an hour's worth, multiplied it by like 16 because you guys have people in all time zones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my the numbers just did not make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, there's another one that I forgot about when we're talking about like we got the redundant snapshots, we got the structure SQL, but I recently added one for redundant to-dos as well. So that's when there's Ruby-cop rules that have been disabled that don't need to be disabled anymore. So it's really cool that we've got all those in here. We don't yet have any, I don't know what I think we call them feature specs, like within the monolith, any sort of capybara like UI testing. That definitely could be something we can consider in the future. Um, but yeah, what I was talking about VCR. So in this MR, hopefully I can see the commit that I pushed. So yeah, the tests were just initially like mocking the responses, data okay, and errors with a message, and there's a message. And I just didn't quite have the confidence that, like, is that exactly the way the data comes back from GraphQL? Or, is the shape slightly different? Are they, even as silly as it sounds, the difference between it being a symbol or being a string and like all these small permutations, etc. So, I felt that like VCR here is the perfect tool for that because it actually makes the real network call and records it. So I know for a fact that, given this message to this URL, etc., 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 when the conditions arise, this is exactly the shape of the data that comes back. Yes, I can now mutate, modify, massage, whatever you want to call it, some of this input output. But I've got the confidence of that this is exactly
Yeah.
what we need.
I do have one question for you if you want to go down a rabbit hole today.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I only have one little MR that's finishing reviewing, so tell you what, let's just now this quickly so I can hit merge and probably ship as well.
Okay.
and then we're good to go. So I was just gonna tweak this a tiny little bit, basically just to move the as into the const, if that makes sense. And then I don't have to do like string interpolation here. And I was going to look at this. I'm going to just resize a few things and change my sharing. Um, yeah, just have a look because we've got hash including, hash not including. Yeah, just have a quick look and see. Does that need firming up at all? It's probably fine, but let's have a look. So portion of the screen, perfect. So I checked this out. I made the change I suggested here. So I moved the column alias into here and so we just select that. We don't have to do a string interpolation. I ran all the specs again as well, and they all still pass. I wasn't super confident because to avoid line length violation, I had to remove the word as. I haven't done a lot of SQL for a while, but I had a feeling that as was like a superfluous keyword that can just be dropped. So I guess we'll find definitive confirmation of that in a minute. So I was just going to rebuild the container. Sometimes I do get slightly weird. I don't know what to call it, stale. Um, where I'm like, oh, this is my changes aren't being reflected here in the UI. But okay, so we'll do a new group, a new tab. I'll hit localhost. So what this should do, if I go to my profile. The first thing to check, yeah, like this is in a branch in an MR that I was working on earlier. This shouldn't look like this anymore. So even after rebuilding the container, and I think what normally fixes that is I have to just stop because rebuilding rebuilds the back end, the web container, but not the front end, the V container. So I just stop and start that. Hopefully refresh this. Come on, come on. Maybe turn it off and on again. And hopefully, yeah, back to normal. Okay, so yeah, on the issues list, so we know it's not completely broken to start with, because there would be no titles here if I'd completely broken it. What we want to do now is we want to fake one of them into a state where it thinks it's not found, that basically it's become confidential, or for some reason it's no longer exists, which should redact it. So I'm going to do a rouse console, and I'm going to do issue.find by
I
title.
don't know how you can ever get the Rails console spin up that quickly because it always takes forever.
So what I find interesting, so the monolith in GDK takes maybe 5 or 10 seconds, I don't know, probably five, not too long to spin up. The monolith or omnibus, I guess you could call it, on my self-managed instance takes like maybe a minute or longer, quite a long time.
It takes like
But can,
5 to 10 minutes for my omnibus.
Really, really. But for contributors, yeah, bang, I love it. So hopefully we've got the issue. So I'm gonna set not found. The other thing I was interested in is note found. And I don't know if I want to change this or not, but I had a feeling that there was a way to when you've got like a Boolean attribute, I had a feeling there was a way to toggle that attribute um, without like instead of calling like I.update not found blah blah blah. I had a feeling there was a way. So just to satisfy my curiosity, I'm going to quickly ask massive open code advocate at the moment. Uh, so I'm going to say in Rails, is there a dynamically created method to toggle. So, for example, rather than issue.find x.update.
Did you name it Jeeves or did it automatically name it Jeeves for
I
you?
named it that. So Nick created his PA, personal assistant, whatever you want to call it, rubber duck, etc. His was called Paul. He inspired me to kind of create mine, and I decided to call mine Jeeves. Um, I'm sure, I'm convinced there's a way to do this in Rails, but um, we'll leave him wiring for a sec. So I'll do the proper way anyway. Not found equals true. I.save. And then hopefully when I refresh this page, didn't expect such a lag. Hmm, weird. Uh, issues, redacted title, there it is. So the other thing that I didn't consider too much, but I'm not overly keen on redacted title. I think it's users controller. I don't know what I want it to say. Um, whether I want to call it not found, whether I want to call it confidential. So we don't particularly know why it's been redacted. Redacted is in two minds there. Uh, okay. Oh, enums do. Yeah, so if you've got like a status which could be like opened or closed, I think you can call um yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Okay, no worries, no worries. Right. So yeah, any thoughts on what wordage would make sense to display here when something can no longer be found, like which is possibly because it's confidential, possibly the project's now private, possibly it has been deleted because it was spam. It could be a number of reasons.
I'm I don't mind redacted title, but I understand you why you don't like it. I don't know what a good alternative would be though.
I'm reasonably happy to stick with it. Even like the annoying thing is, there's not much of a standard in terms of name. So even the capitalization, like my minor OCD or whatever, slightly triggers me here. And I'm like, oh, maybe I just change title to a lowercase t. Sometimes people's issue titles will be in sentence case, sometimes they will be in title case. So realistically, if I change that, it's just as likely to look wrong. Um, but I'm okay if you think redacted title makes sense. Maybe I will just to satisfy myself, change it to a small, but just to say redacted title. I mean, part of me wondered if just redacted. Um, or even like 3 stars or something like that. I honestly don't know, but I think redacted title's fine. Um, why when I hit refresh is this hanging rather than look like it's even like hitting the controller or anything? Maybe just quick click in production to see. So if I go to my profile, loads up, and then I hit refresh, and it reloads. Yeah, weird. So yeah, look in here. Redacted title lowercase. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. So we're going to look at the user's controller spec. Um, that's not, yeah, perfect. So yeah, what do we think? So we create an issue. Um, we make sure we set it during the window. I always like to check. Right, so we've got 8 repetitions of exactly this same method call. So I'm probably gonna, it's a little bit scope creepy, but I might take the opportunity. We're introducing a new call to this. Um, so I think it's time. So have we got any that call it with different criteria? Yes, we have got some that call it with different criteria. But we should be able to. So we'll do something like subject. Uh, is show a bad one? Is that going to be a reserved word of some sort? My guess, I don't know, might hit a reboot cop thing as well, but we'll see. Yes, they're all passing. And Rubicop's happy, cool. So we should be able to replace all of the ones that just call this with show.
Okay, that's a pure magic Ruby thing.
How do you mean?
Just being able to replace all that like that in test,
Um,
that's pure
yes.
magic.
What was well, I mean, all I've really done is if I was thinking C sharp, which is my sort of, I don't know, old upbringing or whatever, I would have just maybe done like a public void show is the casing that I would use. Um, and then, called did I just override? Oh, I see what I did. When I did the search and replace. Oh no, and can I get it back now? Afternoon.
Hello, hello.
Matthias.
Hi, Jim.
Um, so yeah, in C sharp world, I would have just created a method for it. So it's just like a helper memoirs thing. So yeah, cool, 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 cool. That's one there. And what I could do, I'm not going to because that is a bit too much goat creep on this one. Is the ones that are, I'm sure I found some other ones. Oh, maybe not. No, yeah, there are. The ones that are doing something different, like where they're passing a different ID or a different whatever, I could make the params object shared as well, but I don't think I need to in that instance, and that's a bit too much scope creep anyway. So we've got
Yep,
that.
I think
That's
it looks
looking
good.
good. Sorry?
I think it looks good.
Awesome. Create an issue. So we don't care. Oh no, we don't care who the user is, but um, using where is user defined here? But using this user means it avoids creating a new one, which is what I think the factory would do by default if we didn't tell it which user to use. Yeah, I think so. So that saves a bit of database operation. So that's good. Needs to be opened during the window, otherwise it won't be found. Title we're explicitly setting and not found we're explicitly setting. We want to check that. Um, I don't think we need this negative test here because we're explicitly checking that the opened issues has this title. So it can't possibly have this title as well. So
I
I
agree.
think that's probably redundant. I like the verbosity and the explicitness of it. But I think in checking that the title is redacted, we're sort of implicitly checking that the old non-redacted title is no longer visible. So I think with those couple of tweaks, I think we're good, to be honest. So simplified this a teeny tiny little bit and simple, yeah. The other stuff I'd previously reviewed, but we'll have a quick look at anyway. So the database migration really does just add the column with the default set to false, so it's not found. um, and the service change. Okay, so previously when we didn't get the issue back from GitLab, we just touched the record, which basically flagged it, which ensured that we wouldn't try and reprocess it for another 7 days in this kind of update service. Now we specifically call that update. I wanted to double check. I'm fairly confident, but I wanted to double check when you update the record, the update stamp is updated. I don't see why it wouldn't be. So, but we'll just be really, really confident. So we'll find that issue that we updated a minute ago. We'll check the update stamp, which is today at 10:44. We'll give it another quick update. Um, no, not like that. The way we're doing it here is we're doing update and we're setting not found. It's already true, so we'll set it to false. And yet we can even see that it calls and sets the updated app. Yep, perfect. Cool. So we're happy with that. We don't need to touch it anymore because we're actually updating it. And we make sure if it does suddenly get found again that we answered it. Awesome. I think that's good. I'll just push my teeny little tweak. Not that window. I'm sure I've got another one somewhere. Here we go. Um, yeah, we simplified that a teeny tiny bit. And why is it not seeing the changes to the spec? Hmm. Unable to read files to diff. It's the credentials one that's causing diff to explode. So let me just revert the unneeded changes and then get diff again. Right, so we've got our diffs in there, which we're happy with. And then in here, we're defining the subject globally. We're calling show on all of these instead of that. And we've removed that. Happy, happy, happy. Uh, I'll just share that commit. Let's go. Okay, you had a rabbit hole, Jim. 15
All
minutes
right.
sounds like a good time box for a rabbit hole.
All right. So go to any issue and open up your network tab, please.
Uh, so,
Go ahead and hit
whoops.
set auto merge first, though.
Okay.
'Cause you'll forget otherwise.
Add issue. Start not found. Oh my goodness, not found. Okay. Thank you, Jim. Okay, so should I open the tab before I navigate to the issue or?
Go ahead and open it now. It's fine to open it now. And go all the way down and type into the um, thingamajigger, the issue box.
The comment?
Yep, the comment box, and type slash
Oh,
something. Do one of the slash commands and type just so what I was seeing is that was being a little bit slow, and it was at one point creating a command for each single one, but now it looks like it's not.
oh, so like for every quick action that's available on here, it was making a
Anytime
call.
anytime you like typed into that box, like if you type label, it would send one for L, then it'd send another one for A, then another request for B,
Interesting.
and it looks like some it got fixed recently.
Yeah, it's possible that either as a team member that I've got a different feature flag or within the GitLab org. I don't know if this was on your self-managed instance or was this
It was on
um,
self-managed, but then I also saw it on .com.
GitLab.com. Okay. Let me just stop sharing for a second. I'll have a quick look on my self-managed to see if it does the same. So I just want to go into an issue.
Because what I noticed is there was a bit of lag with creating those sometimes, and I trace it down to network speed for part of it.
Okay.
So
Um, no, I'm not seeing that on my self-managed either. So I don't know. What version have you updated to 18.11 yet, Jim? Or
no, I don't have the ability to update that far.
I,
We're
s-
still
I
stuck
have.
on 17 point something.
oh wow.
And it's
What
it's that one version where uh I want to use GLab, but I can't for secret management because secret management's broken on that one specific version.
is
So
it primarily time constraint that's preventing you from upgrading, or are there a bunch of reasons?
I don't control that. So
Okay. Okay.
But I can
uh,
reproduce it, what you say.
Oh, you can. Interesting. Did you want to share your screen or is it on a private instance or?
It's at sample.com. I'm not sure if it's an actual issue, but at least I see what you mean. Like, I'm just gonna, like you say, not even a real command, but every letter I type here. Yeah, damn. 1 second. I accidentally. Let's go here. You see?
oh,
You see? And so it doesn't stop. It just
Oh,
keeps.
so let me try with sort of more nonsense if that makes like
Yeah.
so not an actual command. I'll
And if
type.
it's a very fast speed. There is no delay in firing that request, so I'm basically firing them all. There is no like 300 millisecond or something delay in it. So yeah, I see what you mean. I'm not sure if it's actually an issue. Yeah, a bug, but I see it. Yeah.
Just gonna.
Yeah, I have the same if I type label though. So this is label basically I typed.
That's intriguing.
Yeah. If you don't see it and I see it, I'm very curious.
So one thing I did notice as well. So part of that I'm sure goes down to caching because I'm sure you guys cache that partially. But I
Mhm.
did trace down to the code on the back end because even that was seemingly, and I'm sure part of it's just how my network is, but I was noticing, hey, sometimes it takes a second for this, sometimes it takes half a second. So there was just a lot of variability. So I was trying to trace down to the back of um, the back end code to see, hey, what all can be done to, is there anything that can be done for this?
Yeah.
And so I had a couple of questions on that if you don't mind answering them.
Yeah, try. I can't guarantee an answer, but
Wondering to see if we can answer.
So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So I noticed that it comes down to there's two different autocomplete controllers from what I found,
okay. Yeah,
and then multiply that by the EE one, so that turns into four different files. Okay.
got
So
it.
in here, for some reason, it would not let me scroll. So you have this target, and it comes down and does that. It doesn't look like there's any caching on the target whatsoever. Is that correct?
So, I guess yeah, my expectation is that you would have cache in at more like client, like front end rather than back end, if that makes sense. Um, Albeit that I understand like you probably wouldn't want to keep doing the same bit of work again. Yeah, I would expect probably if there was caching, it to mainly be in the front end layer.
Okay. So there would be some sort of like debounce or something, and then you go ahead and send it over or something like that, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or just like again, I know I have looked in this the I think it's GFM autocomplete is the JavaScripty query library, whatever you want to call it, component that takes care of it. I think I've looked in there before. And I think like at some point it makes a call to get like all of the available commands, but then each individual command maybe also makes a call to get more specific details. So like labels will go to get the list of labels and contacts will go to get the list of contacts and so on and so forth. So what I'm a little bit surprised, but also what I would expect is that first it makes the call to get a list of available quick actions. And soon as it knows, like where Matthias was showing us there, just add in TTTTT or FFFFF, well, it already knows what the list of valid
Yeah.
quick actions are. So I don't know why it's even sort of making a request to sort of say, oh, are there any quick actions that match this criteria, if you know what I mean. Like, so,
Let me show you something more that's interesting. So I will, if it's okay, Jim, I will share again. 1 second. Entire screen. Here we go. So the strange thing is, all of these requests, all of them, have the same response. So to be clear, I'm typing label. So every time I get a full list.
can you try switching to the plain and I'll try switching to the rich?
Oh, yes, I understand what you're saying. That would be really interesting. Yeah, it's in the rich. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I can recreate it. There you go. Awesome. Teamwork.
Yeah,
Teamwork.
it is a bug because also what happens if you look at it, all these URLs don't have
Exactly the
anything in the
same.
payload that says filter it. So the word you're typing is not added to it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think it's
So,
a bug.
Matthias, do you want to show us the marvel that is maybe asking open code if it can, or if you want to ask in the web, however you want to ask to see if it's a known problem,
Yeah.
if there's really an issue for it.
Give me 2 seconds. I will reshare in a bit that I can.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
So
Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and share again real quick because I have
Yep.
one more question. Because this is my Ruby coming out. So I understand this is converting whatever the result of this is back to JSON, right? That's what that
Yes.
rendered JSON's doing. Where can I
Correct.
see all these imports from? Because I'm used to like Java or Python where you have explicitly import stuff. Where does all
Cool.
this stuff come from?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, let me just open the project up quickly. So what it will probably be is that this autocomplete. So that was, which one were you in? The projects one, was it, Jim? Or
I can put a link in chat.
yeah, projects autocomplete sources controller. Yeah. So issue serializer. So in this instance, I'll share for just a quick second. Screens. So yeah, so for like issuable serializer, that's defined here. And we don't have to import with Rails, it kind of caches or preloads. I hope I'm not making this up, all of the like classes at boot time. So you don't have to, you only have to like require or yeah, require, I think would be the term, something that isn't like part of the like third party gems, for example, you have to explicitly require when you want to use them. Looking at some of these other, so like autocomplete service is defined in here. And again, it's just saying it's a project's autocomplete service. So again, we can find that if we want to. It'll be this one or the EE version of that. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
No worries.
And,
And
and I saw this
again,
and I'm like, this has, I cannot imagine how many requests are being done. And I realize you guys have very heavy caching on like GitLab.com, but I can just
yeah, it's
imagine.
a good point actually. I wonder if because it's I don't know what the word is, like dynamic. I don't know because Cloudflare could cache stuff, but I'm not sure if it would cache something
Yeah,
like that because it would be dangerous to cache it,
I'm
right?
I'm almost certain it's not cache traffic for the simple reason if you look at how long it takes, if that would be a cached request, that would be not
Right.
good. It's
Yeah.
500 milliseconds for the round trip. That's way, way, way too much for a
Yeah.
cached
Yeah.
request. So I'm quite sure it goes through the monolith, or at least to some layer of it. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
cool. So what did I do? Maybe quickly share my screen.
Yeah, love that. Thank
It will
you.
not be the ideal demo I want to give. So first thing, yeah, I'm gonna explain it a bit because I use speech to text, which means I don't type, but I just like talk to my machine, so to say. I will see that it has a hard time understanding GitLab. Most of the time it comes out as hitlop, but anyhow, it will figure it out. And it figures it out. So what it's doing right now, and my agent uh, figured out this is a research task, getting to understand where in GitLab it could be, and also in the issue queue where it could already be reported. So he's doing that, and that sub agent is basically going through issues. You can see it here. It's going through. If I click on it, you will see that it fetches a lot of information through the API. So through the GitLab API of figuring that out. And in the end, after some minutes, it will report these are the issues that are probably already there, or these are the merge requests, or I didn't find anything. So that's a very easy way for us to figure out if something is already known or not. Because why is that? The search on GitLab works pretty well, but you need to read the issue to find if it's the correct context. And this will automatically do that for you, or your agent is able to do that more efficiently. So that's
So let me ask this. Let's say that it does not find an issue. We go and create the issue for this.
yeah.
Where is the code for that rich text editor? Where does
Yes,
that
and
live?
that's also what I asked. So if it could not
Okay.
find it, I will ask it like wire me the whole thing, like show me where it is. So it can directly say, and then of course I verify it if it's correct because I'm not really trusting agents themselves. So that's done. I did the research. I'm very curious also what will come out. I have some.
Yeah, go on.
So So it gives me all the outputs. So with all the issues, I can also ask it to give it more a better way of like printing it with clickable URLs and so on. But basically, it explains it, and I think like here it's basically asking, do I need to dig into the code to understand where it is? So that's basically how I can go very fast from something that I don't know to the line of code that basically impacts it. So reporting issues is really easier that way.
That's kind of what I think I wanted to emphasize. Like I really enjoy these kind of rabbit holes that
Yes.
we've gone down for a long time, Jim, and like diving into the code and this calls this and this is under, but that is really where the AI stuff excels. Like it can, 100 times faster than we can. It can sort of, dig down that hierarchy and find this and find
Yeah.
that. And again, the more context you give it, the better. So in this scenario, if we can sort of specifically say, like, when I'm adding a comment on an issue using the plain text editor, this doesn't happen. But when I'm using the rich text, and loads of
Mhm.
bits like that. And yeah, so just to confirm, Matthias, it found an open issue. It found a couple it said weren't relevant. The ones that it found that were open, did it think that they were relevant or not?
No, because this is about an overflow, like a visual regression or something. This is
Got
not.
it.
It's
Got it.
this one is already closed, so so this could be. Wait a second.
So, and yeah,
Ah, yeah,
likewise. So I.
it's yes. This is exactly what showed unfiltered lists where the plain text editor filtered correctly.
No, so I don't think it is. I think what that's referring to is if you do slash assign,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think
About
what it
this. Yeah,
means
yeah,
by that, and it lists all the people that aren't already assigned, because the whole point of unassign or unlabel is they should
yeah,
only show the
yeah,
people that are already assigned.
yeah,
I also, so we also have a custom agent in the GitLab project
yeah,
that I've also asked the same question. Again, kept it really simple. Like, is there a bug around the rich text editor making lots of API requests for quick actions unnecessarily? And it also found nothing that it felt was so. This does sound like something that wants a new bug to be created, a
yeah.
new request.
Cool.
So
But nice finding because not looking at the network request, you don't see it because the end result is your type. Ah, yeah, of course you see it because it's not slimming down the list. You keep seeing the full list, even though you start typing label, you still get other
Yeah.
ones in the rich text
Well,
editor. Yeah,
the issue I was having is it was just randomly, it would take forever, and I was trying to figure out why is this taking so long?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
um,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jim, do you want us to create that issue? Are you happy to create the issue? Or?
I mean, if you want to create it, I'm not going to stop you because I hate creating issues, but
Well, I figured like maybe with the questions that Matthias has already asked open code,
I
if
can do
you're
it.
happy to do it, you could, yeah. And again, this is something that I think that we're trying more and more. Jim is
Mhm.
to like it's interesting. Exactly what you just said there, actually. I don't know if you said you hate creating issues or whatever term you use, but I'm the same. It's kind of like, okay, what should I call the title? What should I put in the description? What label shall I add? All this sort of stuff. And yeah, the AI just does a really good job, especially if Matthias allows it to do a little bit of research, it might even
Yeah.
start hinting at, oh, I
So
think I know roughly where the bug is.
Yeah,
so
and
then
the cool
going
thing is
back to
here.
my question from earlier,
Yeah.
where does that rich text editor live?
No idea, but
Okay, I didn't know if you knew or if you could ask your AI real quick or not. So
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I figure I'm late for another meeting, but a few more minutes doesn't matter. So
and the cool thing is, uh, what we're doing right now is basically a not so efficient way of finding out the link between two pieces of code. In the
yep.
future, when the knowledge graph thingy will be a bigger part of the GitLab ecosystem, that's extremely powerful because then you have meaningful links between data, the places where the methods are called versus where they are defined. The link between also like issues and merge requests. So a lot of information is there that can be linked together, which makes those searches even more efficient and more contextualized. There's way more context. Context will be a very important part in the AI landscape, so to say, to improve the overall
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah, yeah. Like definitely it's one of those things at the moment where I think we're probably going with I don't want to say breadth over depth by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely like I've asked the same question I imagine that Matthias has asked at his end as well. But our agents will be going off and they'll be probably searching the docs and they'll be searching the repo locally and they'll be searching, they'll be doing a whole bunch of different things when sometimes maybe you do want to be a bit more like definitely with the knowledge graph,
Mm.
it should be far simpler. So
No,
I don't know if you've got roughly the same response, Matthias, but mine's
well,
basically
not yet. I just
saying
hit enter, so it took some time. Yeah,
this is where the stuff is, and it gives us an
yeah,
idea of the bits and pieces.
no,
And that's the
Um,
big thing that's really been hampering me is just finding the right stuff.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's
exactly.
yeah.
I don't know what you've already used, tried, have access to, didn't know you had access to, etc. But um, you can connect open code to GitLab and your community sort of Duo license that you've got through like access to the whatever will allow you to do that. So
Oh,
please, we,
really?
we really encourage you to play around to experiment. One of our sort of things imminently on our schedule is to try and start updating more of our sort of contribution guidelines, tutorial, whatever, maybe. But I'd love to create some videos or whatever to sort of show how someone. What's very hard is for us to pretend we don't know what we know, if that makes sense, and
Right.
try and clear our minds and say, right, I'm going to pretend that I'm a brand new contributor coming along to this project. I suppose it don't have to be brand new, but like this is a great example. I know nothing about the rich text editor, so I might know GitLab inside out, but I know nothing about this. So maybe this bug is our perfect thing to use to create some content. Maybe we use this as a sort of use case. I'm a user. I found this bug. I want to find out if an issue already exists for it. I want to find out where the relevant code is. I want to fix it, etc. Maybe this is our opportunity to do that.
Yeah, these type of bugs are definitely good because it's not in the common knowledge that we have. And I definitely don't have. So all the things I did within the GitLab ecosystem, basically, I relied on a thing that basically can help me. So also, and maybe, and then we should close up the meeting, but it's one thing of gathering all the information and then creating the issue automatically or not, that doesn't really matter, but also learning something from it. So what I do is whatever it comes out, I read it and I try to understand how it works so that I don't rely on what the AI knows, so to say, but I also want to enforce my own thinking or my own knowledge
Do
to
you sort of mean you don't assume it's correct, or
vote. I don't assume it's correct, and I also want to be sure that I next time I can already hint better in what direction a specific part goes to better instruct it and not just rely on knowledge from the AI and the code base. I also want to have myself some knowledge, not the full details, that doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I want to learn from it too, and not only be a very useful automation, so to say.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for bringing that up, Jim. And we'll create the issue and see
Yep.
if we decide to use it to create some content as well. So,
Yep.
Thanks for joining, and see you maybe next week.
All right.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Just
Have a good one.
ping me
Bye-bye.
that issue when you create it, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
I will
Will
tag
do.
you in it. Also, and
Perfect. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
contribute you for reporting it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.